Hello, welcome to this week's episode of How's the Market, Pensacola. I'm Shane Willis. Just wanted to start sharing with you some data for the housing market this week. And boy, there are some few surprises this week. Well, not really, although I did start to see something that jumped out at me. So I'll definitely share that with you. It's Monday, August 12th. I kept thinking it's 11th for some reason. Today is the 12th. Today is the 12th. Today is the first day back to school for Escambia County. Saw a lot of buses running around. I got up this morning, went for a run, and I live right next to an elementary school, so I noticed that the gates were unlocked, and they've got this huge circle driveway for the car riders. Perfect track because it's like the whole circle thing's like half a mile. Um, but I noticed people like at work at the elementary school at 5:30 this morning. So lots of kids out this week. Drive safe this week. Just give yourself just a few extra minutes. I know my wife, I think, left the house like 10 minutes early for work today, just because we know we live next to that elementary school and there's a lot of people driving. But they're going to be all over. You're going to see the buses stopping. So pay attention. Give yourself a little extra time. Everybody's got to get used to this routine um, before we get going. But hey, I know we're not here to talk about school. We are talking about driving safe, though. We're going to do that. How about we talk about real estate? Let's go. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and don't need no permission. I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth? All right, some of you may notice I'm not actually in my normal studio. That particular room that I use was booked out months ago for an event, so they're using it. So I'm just doing it here in my office real quick because I want to make sure I give you the data. And we're going to start like we do every week because some people haven't seen this before, so they don't know what we're talking about if I don't start with this slide. Jump down to my computer. If you have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, you have a neutral market. Okay, greater than 7 months worth of inventory is a buyer's market. Less than 6 months worth of inventory is considered a seller's market. So, what the slide doesn't say is if you have more than or less than 3 months worth of inventory, that's considered a hyper seller's market, and more than 9 months worth of inventory is considered a hyper buyer's market. Now, I'm going to share with you screens where both those counties are, where all the price points are. But I want to make sure I reiterate why I do this. It's because strategies change. Real estate strategies change whether you're in a buyer's market, a seller's market, an up market, a down market. The strategies change. Whether you're the buyer or the seller on either side of the transaction, the strategies change. So you need to know what market your price point's in so you know how to attack it and you can be successful at that. We're starting here with the Escambia County. We'll jump back down to the computer. And boy, this jumped out at me quite a bit. These are your price points for those of you who hadn't seen the show yet. These are your price points, and these over here are your months worth of inventory. So that's why I start with that first slide. 0 to 50 at 1.2 months worth of inventory. That's normal. That is really a low price point. I've had one person ask me about a property in there. I think it was on the market for about 7 seconds, and it was already under contract. So I honestly think the listing agent had someone that wanted to buy it, and as soon as he had to put it on the market, and you got to put it active before you can put it pending. So he put it active, and it was on there for 7 seconds, and then it was pending, which is fine. That's normal in that price point. You got something in that price point, call me because we can probably sell it. There are 13 actives. There are 13 actives, but I wonder the condition of those properties, and I wonder how many of those are lots. What's jumping out at me some is this 150 to 200. We are seeing the amount of property active right now come down. Now, I told you guys, if you guys have listened to the show the last couple of weeks, I think as soon as school starts, we're going to see there's always a little lull here in Escambia, Santa Rosa County between when school starts and Labor Day, right? It's like everybody wants to be in that routine. Nobody wants to really be buying a house as much. I mean, I've got people coming in. I've got a couple coming into town Thursday. They are cash in hand. They said, we can't leave Pensacola without a contract. Okay. We've got about 5 houses we're going to look at. I think I know which one they want just by talking to them. But that is really concerning to me because there's a lot of people in that 150 to 200 price point. If you've got something that you're looking at liquidating between 150 and 200, you need to call me because we can be pretty aggressive at that. You got 171 people under contract right now and 144 active, but we're only 1.3 months worth of inventory. And even all the way up to 300,000 in Escambia County is considered a hyper seller's market. And all the way up to 450 is still considered a seller's market. So anything but under 450, if you're attacking that from a buyer side or a seller side, You need to understand that you're walking either into a seller's market or a hyper seller's market. You need to negotiate properly. You need to differentiate if you're the seller. You may need to figure out a way to differentiate your offer if you're the buyer. So pay attention to that. All right, so between 450 and looks like 650, which just floored me. Because remember this pocket? If you've watched the show at all, the 450 to 500 got really crazy on us. It was like 14 months worth of inventory. This was the strange pocket in Escambia County. Now that's come back down. That's come back down between 450 and looks like 650 is all just a neutral. It's a 6-month inventory. It is a neutral market. Don't think you're going to beat somebody up as a seller. Don't think you're going to beat someone up in this price point because it's a neutral. You need to differentiate. Yeah, you may be able to sell your property for that. I've sold plenty of them in this price point this year. But, excuse me, you're not going to be able to differentiate. Or you're going to have to differentiate. Excuse me. I need some water. Jeez. And as a buyer, you can be a little more aggressive. These are the price points where you can go, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a little bit under what you're asking, and I'm going to ask you to pay, 3% of the closing cost or whatever. And above 650 is a hyper buyer's market. Buyers can be pretty aggressive at that price point in their offers. So let's take a look. Let's switch over here, get over to Santa Rosa County, see if there's anything different. And as usual, there is. This is some of the stuff that scared me. Remember when I said I was nervous at Escambia County between 150 and 200? Look at Santa Rosa. There's 1 month's inventory. 1 month. 1 month's inventory. That's all you got. 1.9 months between 2 and 250. Under a month's inventory between 1 and 150. Under 1 month. Are you kidding me? That is an inventory problem. Now, I told you it was going to slow, and I think this is just seasonal. All right, I think we'll actually see a pickup a little bit because we always see a pickup in October. September, there's more listings come on. In October, we actually see a pickup in purchases. September closing in October. And I think that has something to do with the fiscal year. And I know that some of the stuff that I've noticed personally, it has to do with military transitions because the new fiscal year starts October 1. People are getting transferred because the military has money to move them again, right? So, but look at this. This is all the way up to $450,000 as a hyper seller's market in Santa Rosa County. Now, I know some of you guys are going to be looking at the screen going, wait a minute, the 3 to 350 is over 3 months inventory, but you still called it a hyper sellers. Well, if you've listened to the show the last couple of weeks, I always explain there's a bunch of properties here that are new builds in this one. All right. So the builder puts the model in the MLS and they may sell 5 houses around it from that model. They may sell the exact same house 5 different times on 5 different, lots, but they never mark this one contingent because it stays on as the model. So I think this data is a little skewed because of that. So I had just said it's a hyper seller's market, and I mean ridiculously slow. 150 to 250, actually 150 to 300 is just ridiculously low inventory. There are some houses, don't get me wrong, but the appetite is just so strong in Santa Rosa County for that price point. 2 to 250, there's 135 active, but there's 150 pending. There's people out looking for these type properties. So as a seller, as long as you market it right and you differentiate yourself a little bit, you can get these under contract fairly quickly. That house that I told you about that we came on the market 48 hours, I had 4 offers, was in this price point, the 3 to 350. 48 hours. Literally 48 hours. That's all it was. We look between 450 and 550. That's still a seller's market. We don't reach a neutral market until 550, but in actuality, 550 to 600, they got it marked yellow like a neutral. That's a buyer's market. So 550 to 650 is a buyer's market. 650 to 700 is a hyper. That's 2 years worth of inventory right there. A little over. And then 700 plus, they get it back down to close to a neutral market. There's just not as many properties here. If we look back at Escambia County, you see there's a lot more active properties. There's just not much. 700,000 plus in Santa Rosa County. But boy, again, these numbers right here, this 100 to, even if I look at 100 to 300, which how many houses bought are between 100 and 300? That's like our average price points in Santa Rosa County. And it is just hyper seller's market, not much inventory at all. That could cause a little bit of a crisis. We've got to get some more properties on the market. So if you're thinking about liquidating, especially with the job markets being as well as they are, especially with the rate cuts. Did you guys see the mortgage rate cuts that happened last week? Oh my goodness, I was starting to see some stuff back down in the threes. That's just wow. Because I witnessed, I had a client of mine who had a mortgage note. It was a 30-year moat. It was a 30-year moat. It was a 30-year note that she's been into for 10 years, so she had 20 years left. She reached out to me. She goes, hey, listen, I'm thinking about refinancing. I'm like, do you have a tangible benefit for refinancing? Because I understand. I mean, if you need to pull some equity out, cool. She goes, no, I was thinking about refinancing because I don't like this rate. I want to do just a quick rate change. I'm like, okay. Well, the rule of thumb is probably no less than 3/4 of a point, but really a point. That's if you're just doing what they call a rate and term refinance, right? That's the terminology, rate and term refinance. Well, she said, well, I got some numbers run, and it's going to cost me about $1,000 to do it total. I'm like, that's not bad for your price point, for the loan that you're getting. She goes, and I'm going to go with a 15-year note. And I always get a little nervous with a 15-year note. I'm like, well, you could do a 30-year note, and I could show you how to pay it off in 15, just in case you come on hard times. And that's just some of my personal reactions because of what happened to me with the foreclosure and everything else. She goes, no, I'm going to do the 15-year note. I'm like, oh, okay. You seem pretty positive about that. Why do you want to do just the 15-year note? She said, because I can do a 15-year note, pay $1,000 in closing costs, and my payment's going to go down almost $100. You want to talk about a tangible benefit. It's because the rates just drop so much. But a tangible benefit? Are you kidding me? You're shaving 5 years off your mortgage and your payment's going down from what you've paid the last 10 years? That's a no-brainer. Do it. Go. Because $1,000 that's going to cost you to do it, you're going to make that up in savings in 10 months. So less than a year. Do it. So if some people are starting to look at refinancing, I'm still looking at folks' financial situations all the time, and I can give you advice. In that area, I'm not a licensed mortgage loan officer, but I definitely can kind of give you a little bit of a heads up because I did own a mortgage company for years, so I do know how that world works quite a bit. All right, do me a favor. If I brought any value to you at all, if this video brought any value to you at all, like, comment, and share. I don't care if you see it on YouTube, hit a comment, hit like, hit subscribe. If you see it on Facebook, make sure you're subscribed to the page. You like the page. Hit comment, hit share. Tell me if there's anything I could be doing different. I tried not to make these things too boring. I mean, I know it's just a bunch of statistics. So I try not to make it too boring, but at the same time, I want to give you data so that you can make the proper decisions for you and your family. I hope this helps. School's back in session. Drive safe. We'll see you next week. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and don't need no permission. I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth?